6 things the Jack Reacher movies do much better than the show. You might assume Tom Cruise wants nothing to do with Jack Reacher again given the hate he received for playing the role. The role almost ravaged his career, but he is not scared. Cruise's frequent collaborator, Christopher McQuarrie, famously stated that the franchise has moved on. We haven't. This hints at a third movie way down the line, probably after the Prime Video show ends. But will Lee Child let it happen? The author declared that there won't be any more movies with Tom Cruise. However, like Reacher, Cruise is a hard person to bully. He does what he wants. Criticism towards the Jack Reacher movies is normally directed at Cruise, who many feel wasn't right for the role because of his size. The former military investigator simply cannot be a tiny guy. It's like casting a 6'5" actor as James Bond. Fans would riot, and rightfully so. However, the films aren't terrible. They actually handle a few things better than the Prime Video show, which has been panned lately for its cheesiness. Reacher has triggered a few complaints regarding its pacing and overstretched narrative. There have been arguments that no Lee Child book isn't thematically detailed enough to fit 8 episodes, so the storylines in each season tend to be stretched more than necessary. This has been followed by the suggestion that each season needs to either be shorter or be an adaptation of more than one book. Thankfully, the movies each around 2 hours long don't have such a problem. There is no filler. Events flow smoothly and precisely. It's time to change the adaptation strategy. The 2 Jack Reacher movies might have numerous flaws, but they are as pinpoint as action movies get. The first installment is even better, mainly because Christopher McQuarrie has great expertise in handling such kinds of plots. His Mission Impossible movies prove just how meticulous a filmmaker he is. It's highly likely that fans won't be happy with shorter seasons of Reacher. 2 books per season might also make things more confusing. To solve the precision problem, showrunner Nick Santora and his team should resist the urge to be too faithful to the source material. Pumping in as many exclusive subplots as possible is the best thing to do. The dialogue in the action series gets really cringy at times. Just when things are about to improve, we get lines like, "You do not mess with the special investigators," and "I don't hit soft." The movie, on the other hand, focuses on lines that highlight the character's stony-hearted nature and level of skill. Cruise's Reacher says things like, "The last 2 guys always run," and "On second thought, I'd like to kill you." People get poked fun at too in the Tom Cruise movie, but it's all done with solid humor and considerable affection. Every line Cruise's Reacher says is an outlet for his fiery spirit. Contrarily, the show frequently throws the most basic stuff out there. It doesn't help that Alan Ritchson always seems like he is about to burst into laughter. Well, you can take the actor out of Blue Mountain State, but you can't take the Blue Mountain State out of the actor. In the movies, it's hinted, right from the opening minutes, that Jack Reacher can knock the wind out of just about everyone. However, hoodlums underestimate him, which makes sense, given his tiny frame. And despite his background and reputation, the odds aren't always in his favor. You get the feeling that he could lose at any given point. On the show, the noodle-brained miscreants see a big guy with a lot of confidence and still aren't afraid of him. They still think it wise to fight him. Unsurprisingly, they keep losing. When it comes to Jack Reacher, fans are lucky enough to have both a movie series and a TV show to enjoy. Tom Cruise's Reacher films, Jack Reacher in 2012 and Jack Reacher, Never Go Back in 2016 introduced Lee Child's legendary drifter detective to the big screen. Meanwhile, Amazon's Reacher series, starring Alan Ritchson, has brought the character closer to the towering, intimidating figure described in the novels. While the show is praised for its book accuracy and gritty realism, the movies did get some things very right, sometimes even better than the series. Here's a look at 6 things the Jack Reacher movies actually do better than the show. 1. Slick, cinematic action. There's no denying it, the Jack Reacher movies deliver beautifully choreographed action scenes that feel larger than life. Whether it's Cruise weaving through a high-speed car chase in a stolen muscle car, or squaring off against thugs in tight spaces, the action is fluid, stylized, and designed for maximum tension. The show's fights are brutal and grounded, sometimes even refreshing in their simplicity, but the movies elevate action to an art form. Every punch, kick, and gunshot is wrapped in sleek cinematography, making the danger feel pulse-pounding and polished in a way TV budgets rarely allow. 2. A noir, moody atmosphere. The Jack Reacher films don't just tell a mystery, they drench you in it. Director Christopher McQuarrie, especially in the first movie, crafts a noir world where the streets are always wet with rain, the lighting is low, and danger lurks around every corner. This dark, moody aesthetic perfectly matches Reacher's lonely, outsider vibe. It feels cinematic in the truest sense, with echoes of classic detective films. The show is sharp and colorful, and often brighter than you'd expect from a Reacher story. It works, but it doesn't capture that same heavy, noir-soaked tone the movies nailed so well. 3. Tighter, leaner storytelling. Say what you want about Tom Cruise's height, when it comes to efficient storytelling, the movies move like a bullet train. The first Jack Reacher film condenses one shot into a tight 2-hour ride without losing the central mystery or the emotional payoff. The movies waste almost no time. There are no long detours, filler episodes, or side characters that bog things down. The TV show, on the other hand, sometimes stretches a single book into 8 episodes. It allows for richer character moments, but it occasionally meanders, taking longer to get to the point. The movies stay sharp, urgent, and laser-focused. 4. More charismatic supporting cast. As magnetic as Alan Ritchson's Reacher is, the movies benefit from incredible side characters who steal the scene. Rosamund Pike's Helen Rodin in Jack Reacher 2012 adds heart, intelligence, and emotional stakes to the story. Even smaller roles, like Robert Duvall's gruff gun range owner Cash or Werner Herzog's chilling villain the Zek, bring an old-school movie star charisma that's hard to match. The show features solid performances, but the movies pack in memorable faces that give Reacher's world more flavor and unpredictability. 5. A Reacher who's not just a tank. This might sound controversial, but hear me out. Tom Cruise's Reacher isn't the physical giant fans pictured from the books, but he makes up for it with relentless intelligence and unshakable confidence. Cruise plays Reacher like a shark, always calculating, always ready to strike. His smaller size means he has to rely more on cunning and technique, which adds a fascinating new layer to the character. He's not just a walking battering ram, he's a surgical weapon. Alan Ritchson's Reacher is much more book-accurate physically, a true tank of a man. But sometimes the show leans too heavily on brute force, missing some of the cat-like cleverness that Cruise's version brought to the screen. 6. The element of mystery. One thing the Jack Reacher films excel at is making Reacher himself feel like a mystery. In the movies, Reacher is almost a myth, a man who drifts into town, shakes up the world, and disappears without a trace. People speak about him in whispers, unsure if he's a ghost, a hero, or a threat. In the show, we get a lot more of Reacher's backstory, emotions, and day-to-day life. It humanizes him, which can be great for building a long-term series, but it also makes him a little less mythic. The movies understood that half of Reacher's power comes from not knowing too much about him. Final thoughts. Both versions of Jack Reacher have their strengths. The TV show nails the brutal efficiency and physical presence of the novels, finally giving book fans the Reacher they always dreamed of. But the movies, especially the first one, deliver a moodier, faster-paced, and sometimes more captivating version of the character's world.